Hello, how are you doing? I want to go a little bit farther into our Kabbalistic discoveries today. Remember when we made this tree, the basic tree? If you haven't done one of your own, I recommend that you do it because it makes more sense when you do it yourself. And all we did was we understood the names of the spheres in English, and then we concentrated on the spheres where the angels are that we are working with, okay? And so we'll go a little bit farther today. I want to stick with the spheres that we're working with. We will continue to flesh out our studies. Okay, so I've just made another little sketch of a tree here. I want to get just a little bit farther into some of the Hebrew today. Now, the reason why we like the Hebrew is first of all, the Hebrew is the way in which the Qabbalah was transcribed, which is how it was written down. Where it originated is still a mystery. There's a lot of conjecture. There are a lot of different traditions and stories about it. So a lot of times you hear people saying that the Qabbalah and Hebrew God names and things like that have absolutely no place in witchcraft, and it is not part of traditional witchcraft, and it's just ridiculous that people use blah, blah, blah. And that is the silliest thing I have ever heard. Those people know nothing about witchcraft. They know nothing about the craft whatsoever. The Qabbalah and biblical symbolism, including the Psalms, the Qabbalah, the Hebrew, the medieval grimoire, all of those things have always had a place in traditional witchcraft. And the angels also have the legends of the Watchers, the fallen angels. All of that stuff have always been a part of traditional craft, and the evidence is it's overwhelming. Everybody that's involved in any kind of lineal tradition in the craft will tell you that is the case. So people that say that the Qabbalah and all of that have no place in the craft are absolutely barking up the wrong tree. Now, do you have to be a part of Qabbalah in order to practice the craft? No, but to say that it's not part of any craft tradition is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So anyway, let's get a little bit into the Hebrew. We're not gonna be using the Hebrew letters today, but I want to just name the spheres first with their Hebrew names so that you understand. So remember that this one was called crown. And so in Hebrew, that's called keter. So that's Kether, okay? That means crown. This one, remember, we call that wisdom. In Hebrew, that's called Chokmah. Chokmah. And there's different ways to spell it. Because these are English transliterations. They're not they're not the Hebrew characters, which we will deal with later. This one, which we called understanding, is called Bina. I'm going to have Kabbalistic correspondences available for you to download on our Facebook group, just so you know. So this one is called Hesed. We also called it's called mercy. It's called Hesed. This one here, it was called justice, and we call it Gebura, which also means severity. This one we called beauty, and it's called Tiparet. This one we called victory, and it's called Netzach. Excuse me. Oh, my writing, sorry, I don't print that well. I write much better than I print. This one is called glory or splendor, and it's called hod. This one we called foundation, and it's called yisod. And this one was called kingdom, and it's called malkut. Okay? So you can just learn the Hebrew, but I would learn the English first. Always learn the English first. Do everything in your native tongue and then add the Hebrew to it. All right, so now why this is important for us is because when we are dealing with a lot of the energies that we are going to confront and work with, when we are dealing with the angels and anything that working magically within these spheres, we're going to talk about the paths at a different time. There's paths, there's little branches that connect all these fruits, and there are ways to journey through the paths and to grow spiritually and to also grow magically by making these journeys. And whenever you're working within the paths between the spheres or the paths of the spheres themselves, you are going to be confronted with all kinds of different beings and different apparitions, and you will have visions, and you will have all kinds of wonderful things, and you'll be given messages. Now, the thing is that we are humans, and a lot of those messages are going to be bull crap. So you want to be able to know when you are just being an egotist, or whether you have gotten in touch with a lower astral level, or somebody's trying to fool you. And the way that we do that is by utilizing Hebrew God names, the Hebrew God names. Now, the Hebrew God names all have English counterparts, and you can work with the English, definitely. But if you, in this particular case, if completely opposite of what I just told you, if you work with the Hebrew, the actual sounds of the Hebrew are like similar to a mantra in Sanskrit. They have powers inherent in them, and if you vibrate those Hebrew God names, which each sphere has, you will notice that anything that is not true has to fall away. So if you're encountering something and you're wondering, is this real? You just vibrate the Hebrew God name that is associated with that, and if it can stand it, if it can survive it, then it's real. If not, it'll just go away. All right. So, and this will be on. We'll have this available to you. Now, let's go from the top. Ketar is eheye. I'm just putting this phonetically. This means I am, or I am that I am. Okay, so this is what God called himself to Moses from that burning bush. So eheye, you can vibrate eheye if you're ever dealing with this sphere, and which is anyway. And then this one here, the Chokmah, this is just Yah. And it's similar to how the God name that they use in Rastafarianism, they call it Jah, but we say Yah. So that's that one. Okay, so and this means he is, or the Lord. Okay, so remember, this is the Father. Binah is the mother, and this is Yehovah Elohim. Now, YHVH, that's called the Tetragrammaton, and that is the secret name of God. And if you put those together, it's Yehovah. Which in the Jewish faith you're not supposed to say out loud, but in magic we do, because we consider it a power word. Yehovah Elohim, which means, oops, let me just write this in here. Which means he is, or she is, they are the gods and goddesses. And with Binah, it's the great mother. So she is the goddess, is kind of another way of saying that. Hesed, which is mercy, this is El, as in the ending of every angel, which means, he is great, God is great. Geburah, which means justice. It can also mean severity, is Elohim Gibur. So Elohim the gods and goddesses. Gibor, meaning are mighty. Elohim is gods and goddesses. It's God as a multitude. It's the supreme God manifesting like as a spectrum. So Elohim is sort of like how color is split into a rainbow. So it doesn't mean that there are many polytheistic gods and goddesses. It means that there is one power that is a multitude of gods and goddesses, right? So Tiparet, it's Yehovah Elove Da'at. This means he is known, or God is known. Okay. Netzach, victory. That is Venus. That's Yehovah Tsabaot, which means she is splendor. Okay, and then Hod here on this side, which is Mercury, which means glory. Literally, Elohim Tsabaot. It's the same Elohim that means they are splendor. Okay, so the gods and goddesses are splendor. And then Yesod here is Shaddai El Chai, which means Almighty God lives forever. And then Malkut here is Adonai Haaretz, which means Lord King of the earth. Okay, so you can make another tree with these God names here. And these are important ones because whenever you're working within any of these spheres, you want to be able to know these Hebrew God names because they keep you safe. They keep you on the beam of whatever it is that you're working with. And they're also helpful when we start working with talismans because we can utilize those God names within the talismans themselves, which I think we will do very soon. All right, so just beginning to understand a little bit more about the Hebrew. So go ahead and download the correspondence sheet of the from the Qabalah from the Facebook group and make another tree with just the Hebrew God names and the Hebrew transliterations of each of the tree of life. We will be learning how to write that stuff in Hebrew for those of you who are interested very soon. Now, it's never necessary to do that, and it's always fine to completely work with an English script. But I do recommend, if you're going to learn any Hebrew at all, that it's the Hebrew God names on the Tree of Life. Because like I said, you can use the English translation and you will have some effect. But if you're facing a nasty little spirit in one of these spheres, it's good to know the Hebrew God name because it just takes care of it like that. It just takes care of it like that, just because of those vowel combinations. They have a particular frequency that they are attuned with, and you can vibrate those God names and really get things working. Not only to overcome negativity, but also to attune yourself with the highest in these spheres. Okay, hope this was interesting. We will talk to you soon. Blessed be.